Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Sonic the Hedgehog here, aka the Blue Blur, aka Blue Justice, and I'm from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, as you probably expect at this point in time. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more Let's Play of Sonic Frontiers for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X/S, PC Steam, and finally the Nintendo Switch. So, last time, we've essentially manage to, well, completely done with the forms of the Battle Rush mode by going through, as usual, Kronos Island, Iris Island, Chaos Island, and finally, Aranos Island. So, as a result, despite it did actually took me about quite a few attempts, most notably during the forms of Iris Island, mainly because of certain enemy types that you do need to beat the likes out of them down as fast as humanly possible. And also, for what I can tell, that Iris Island is by far the longest island in the game in terms of Battle Rush mode as far as this is concerned. So today, for this video, is about the fact that we're about able to conclude everything for the sake of the forms of the Battle Rush mode, and in a perfect timing too, because recently today, the Final Horizons has just arrived for the sake of the forms of Sonic Frontiers. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing this for this point, folks, especially considering about the fact that we've almost finishing up everything in terms of the entire Sonic Frontiers as a game itself, especially concerning about the fact that we actually breezily went through a lot of content a lot more faster than I thought it was. So, either way though, so if you couldn't tell already for the actual post-commentary as far as this is concerned, this is gonna take me a lot of attempts to able to actually get this right. When it comes to able to actually getting every single S ranks when it comes to taking down not only certain enemy encounters, but also certain Guardians and Titans as well. So, relatively speaking now, it will take me about a long period of time until we're able to actually decide to complete this task, especially concerning that we're now on to All Islands run. So as a result about the fact, no matter what though, again, if you accidentally restart the entire thing, you have to go all the way back to the beginning. Well, thankfully though, the actual length itself is like a Cyberspace challenge, because usually, relatively speaking though, sometimes about the fact that you have to go through a lot of loading screens during the course of the Cyberspace challenge, whilst in the forms have been, you know, the Battle Rush mode, there is no loading screens, aside from the fact that with the actual transition for the likes of the forms of the next island you're about to go into. So, but even then, no, yeah, not much explanation for the sake of time. So, anyway, let's get to the forms of the actual discussion about the forms of, this little update I was able to classify for something while this is going on. We were originally going to be able to decide to do the entire marathon of any sort by the likes of the forms of in October. And speaking of which, we've only just got about 3 more days to go until we move on to October. Unfortunately though, the entire marathon of Let's Plays will not be ready until specifically next year, where we're going to be tackling through a different game series. So as a result, unfortunately though, about the fact for this year in particular, there's no marathon to deal with. So because of that, well, relatively speaking though, technically we've already done a marathon of Let's Plays back in last year for Mega Man Marathon 2. So as a result, we did somehow manage to continue our, you know, selections of Mega Man Let's Plays during that time, specifically the classic Mega Man games. So, overall, these aren't too bad. But when it comes to the forms of those specific marathons, like for example Castlevania or something like that, I don't think it's possible I can able to do multitude of Castlevania games. I might do a couple during at some point during the forms of in October, but not every single one of them though. So, but even then though, yeah, I will admit though right away, I do apologize for that particular update system has been addressed, mainly because about the fact that at this point in time, that a lot of fans out there were expecting to be believed. They seem to able to really enjoy my Let's Play of Sonic Frontiers right now, mainly because about the fact that it seems to be more specifically our views count for not just by the forms of Sonic Frontiers, but eventually at some point that during the forms of the ending conclusion of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, that I suppose that Silver will get around into that at some point during the forms of in tomorrow's case. So I believe in that note that for the most part it seems about the fact that we actually got decent amount of views during the forms of the Sonic Frontiers Let's Play, which I'm very quite pleased about, mainly because about the fact that I did pretty much show you guys everything, including by default of some additional content, like, you know, the action chain challenges with the S ranks, thing, and on top of that, new Cocos we somehow obtained, and of course, certain memory tokens we did found during the course of the overworld, and on top of that, certain musical notes that we did somehow manage to found every single one of them, and on top of that, with the forms of certain strategies of the forms of certain enemies to take down, and on top of all that stuff, that was about the fact with a lot of conversations during the forms of the news updates, for the sake of the forms of the upcoming games, including certain updates for certain games. Yeah, that's a lot to think about, and especially notable because concerning about that particular point that, well, suffice to say, I believe we've only just got about, well, let's just say, 22 days to go until Super Mario Bros. Wonder for the Nintendo Switch will be releasing during that time. So, beneath that though, still I'm very excited about that, even though it's kind of unfortunate that we weren't expecting to be able to do that Let's Play in day one, because we'll have to wait until next year, specifically when it comes to the point about the fact that we're about to take care of other Let's Plays for the time being. Like, for instance, is that until by that time and during the forms of in the beginning portion of October, likely also for the sake of the forms of the 2nd of October, I might able to actually decide to continue uploading scheduling for the sake of the forms of Sonic Frontiers, to able to actually finish that game up before we move on to the last batch of the forms of certain Let's Plays to tackle through for the majority of the forms of by the end of 2021, because that's what it's going to be aiming for. So because of that though, yeah, I'm sorry for Castlevania fans out there. I might do some Castlevania Let's Plays in even October, just before Halloween is almost approaching, but I don't think I can probably do the entire marathon dedicated to that. So, yeah, unfortunately though, that's not gonna happen. So, kind of unfortunate though, especially concerning about the fact that at this point in time, once again, our uploading schedules is actually going pretty dang slow. So because of that though, hopefully we'll be back on track onto this particular stuff though, once we get the forms of presumably on November or in sometime in October. So hopefully we'll get the better chance to able to actually get our uploading schedules back in running, especially concerning about the fact that we do apologize about the forms of about the fact that sometimes the uploading schedules, I will admit though right away, is that in the beginning portion it's not so bad, but when it gets to the point during the forms of the midway portion of during the forms of 2023, it feels like our uploading schedules is a bit messy at this point once again. Mainly because about the fact that we want to take care of other things worth noting for, and in addition to that though, it's about the fact that we've been busy playing a lot of stuff on our own time for the sake of time. So, yeah, I'll admit though right away, I do apologize for that. So, anyways though, so today's date of course the is the 28th of September today, in some cases in 2023 today. Like I said before, it's about the fact that Sonic Frontiers specifically free third DLC update has been recently released today. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. So, and in fact, I'm also able to practice that on my own time for a bit on the Switch version, but if I do get enough practice for it, then suffice to say, by the majority of October, we can pretty much guarantee we can able to actually continue our Let's Playing not only Sonic Frontiers, but also we might also play some bit of Castlevania stuff, and on top of that, well, we might also able to play one of those GameCube games for a perfect fitting for the Halloween season. So, but we shall see what happens in due time. So, beneath that note, in terms of other updates, I could possibly bring us to something, and that's where the fact that it looks like that Persona 3 Portable is actually getting a physical Switch release has been revealed by, once again, by the result, it usually starts in June, so as a result, it starts on the 12th of November, so yeah, it seems kind of interesting to say the least, especially considering about the fact that, well, yeah, it doesn't take that long to able to actually get certain stuff released during that time, so... Oh, and another thing too is about the fact that, do you guys even remember during the Events event yesterday, that I've already mentioned about the fact that I'm very appreciated that I finally managed to able to get myself Gold Mario in Mario Kart Tour, but as it turns out, about the fact no matter what though, you can still able to get another chance to able to actually get Gold Mario as a driver during the Events of the second week, for the sake of the forms of the ranked cups, so, but at least I don't have to necessarily worry about that right now, because, well, I've already got myself the actual glorious Gold Mario. In addition to that, I've got the Koopa Clown Mii Racing suit, just in case about the fact that it will be a perfect fit to able to actually obtain the final updated Mii Racing suits for the sake of time. And that by that time until tomorrow anyway, that the battle tour will be up, or for the sake of time, there won't be any, like, you know, new content being added. So unfortunately though, there won't be any, like, new battle courses or anything else to be more specific, so it makes it a grand total of 5. It's a bit of a negative in my honest opinion, but as a result for that particular matter though, it's just about the fact that the amount of content is pretty much ending, so... But either way, as far as saying goes, that's what I can really say about the forms of that specific upcoming tour, for the sake of the forms of, or should I say, the repeated tour ever since in last year, which is of course, like I said this before, it was the battle tour. So either way though, and in terms of everything else I could possibly explain about this as well, is that, relatively speaking though, is that from what I've heard, there's going to be a new release for the sake of the forms of not only Pokemon Scarlet, but also Pokemon Violet, which is not that surprising, concerning about the fact that much like the forms of how it does it on, back in June evolves have been, I would say in 2020 or something like that, back in June evolves have been a pandemic year, as far as what I was going to be expecting to say in that, is that, do you remember about the fact that they obviously did manage to able to re-release a Pokemon Sword and Shield, but with the addition of the forms of the expansion pack, or in some cases the expansion pass built into it or something like that? Well, it feels like in Journey Forms have been this year, this time around though, it feels like they're going to do the exactly same formation as Pokemon Sword and Shield. So because of that, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are about to get re-released on the Nintendo Switch, but with the forms of additional content here and there. So as a result, about the fact no matter what though, you're able to actually experience the original and expanded adventures for Pokemon Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, with bundle packs featuring the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero DLC. So as a result, I think it's going to be releasing in June forms have been everywhere else, like specifically in the UK countries, America, and Japan most notably. So as a result, the release date for that particular double pack, or the bundle packs in between, is expected to be releasing in the forms of the exactly the same day as WarioWare Move It. So, but honestly, I'm more excited with WarioWare Move It a lot more, just because, you know, I'm very curious to try out certain micro games that utilizes motion controls, even some of these unique features like the you know what I'm saying about the... So yeah, you probably get the idea of how the fact that I'm still pretty much hyped about the forms of WarioWare Move It, especially it's been, you know, 2 years after the events of the last installment, so specifically WarioWare Get It Together as far as what I meant to say. So, of November's releases during that time, it seems about the fact that it looks like about the fact that Game Mill Entertainment has been confirmed that Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 has just confirmed the release date, and it's going to be releasing also on the 3rd of November in 2023. So as a result, yeah, 3 massive releases during that day, especially concerning about the fact that, well, it feels like we actually almost got to the point about the fact that it might actually get super duper exciting for the sake of the forms of certain gaming releases during that time. But either way though, that might be saying something I suppose, but still. But either way, it is also another explanation of why about the fact that the uploading schedules is still pretty slow, and that's because once again my computer starts to lag again. So hopefully I'll try to able to fix that, or maybe in some cases though, maybe Silver can able to actually fix that up once he's going to go on to the finale portion of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania at some point or another. But it's just very annoyingly consistent, you know, especially concerning about the fact that we've almost to a point about the fact that we've almost got to wrap things up every single part in certain Let's Plays for that matter though, but sometimes though, lag exists during the forms of the actual commentary, so that's a bit of annoying. So, anyway though, in terms of everything else I could possibly explain about this as well, is that it seems that KepKing34, he's still busy playing through Pokemon Fire Red / Leaf Green, so I was pretty much expecting about the fact I think he's on to the midway portion of the game or something like that. Mind you, I haven't exactly looked upon that much of the forms of Pokemon Let's Plays in my life, mainly because about the fact that I've never actually played mainstream Pokemon games. What I used to on the 3DS, specifically with both Pokemon Moon and Ultra Moon, but I just, for some reason, just couldn't seem to able to actually play it more often. Well, mainly because about the fact that it just feels like an eternity to able to actually go into certain things itself. I get it with RPG elements, but it's just about the fact I just feel like this might be a bit of too much busy work in my opinion. So, but either way though, that's saying something I suppose, but still. Anyway, in terms of another thing I should probably explain about this as well, is that, relatively speaking, is that, well, I'm happy to report, is that the writer's strike is officially over. So, meaning about the fact that the writers are now going to be going back onto the forms of the benefits in Hollywood. So, we can able to actually expect to able to predict what the script will be like, for the sake of the forms of Sonic the Hedgehog 3 at some point in next year. Although, unfortunately though, the actor's strike is still ongoing, so it might take a bit while to able to go back into its normality, for the sake of the forms of the actual filmmaking industries, but even then though, sometimes though, problematic will become common, so. Anyway though, now for what I've heard about it anyway, is that maybe there's a possibility that Red Dead Redemption 2 might also come to the Switch, according to the forms of the actual specific, rating board, or specifically the classification in Brazil board, has been officially been updated. So as a result, about the fact, no matter what though, is about the fact that the classification in Brazil has been updated to include Nintendo's console alongside the PS4, Xbox One, and PC versions. However, it's unclear how long it's been there for, while the rating update was spotted during the forms event today. The Switch version did not receive its own listing, but it's always the case with ratings in Brazilian versions. So, at least if I'm assuming so anyway, so as a result it could be feels like a similar situation of the forms of not only from the likes of the forms of Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD, but also with Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania as well, which later on, both of those games became true. So as a result, about the fact no matter what though, we still have no idea if Red Dead Redemption 2 might make it to the Switch release, but even then though, time will tell, especially noticeable, we're still on 2023 right now, so as a result, maybe we're probably not going to able to actually hear about the forms of games, updates, or anything else be more specifically during a later time. Although, relatively speaking though, it's about the fact that we've only got about, 8 days to go until the physical version of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass, you know, it does manage to able to get a lot of content on the European version, although in the Japanese version it does manage to able to contain a download code or something like that. Well, I still have not exactly sure why Americans don't seem to able to get all this content, whilst luckily in the European countries, like I'm still in the UK after all, does manage to contain something out of it, like for instance the actual download code itself, and the actual pin set, and stickers, and some cards. So, but that's about it basically. So if you even know, in terms of the forms of when exactly is Wave 6 is about to be able to get its new trailer, or in some cases the announcement date or something like that, it's hard to tell honestly, because I know for a fact that it's gonna take a very long while. Well, at least specifically when it gets to the point about the fact that maybe they'll try to save it up during the forms of this holiday season, similar to the forms of how it does it on Wave 3. So, it looks like, unfortunately though, I'm about to go back onto Mario Kart Tour again for so many weeks to come, especially that, well, the good thing, it might not contain that much frustrating moments here and there this time around though, although it might still will have some of the forms of some of these frustrating moments I've ever experienced during the forms of in Mario Kart Tour as the game itself, because of bad controls, and they still have not addressed about the forms of the control support. So, anyway though, in terms of another thing I should probably explain about this as well, is that also during the forms event tomorrow actually, it looks like about the fact that Tetris 99 is getting a brand new theme during at some point during the forms event tomorrow, and this time what appears to be based off from Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So as a result, it usually becomes the 35th Maximus Cup. So even then though, does manage to contain certain assets of the forms of you know, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, so as a result, yeah, not much explanation for the sake of time, so either way though, that might be totally seems to be the case. So, what I found is a little bit weird to me though, is that for some reason, that, whenever I looked upon the forms of the actual questions on certain YouTube channels out there that's saying that, what is the best-selling Kingdom Hearts game? And as a result, what I found out, it's none other than Kingdom Hearts 3 is the best-selling Kingdom Hearts game, apparently, because it did somehow manage able to say that it's actually one of the 18th best-selling Square Enix games. So as a result, Kingdom Hearts 3 has been sold for about 6.7 million units sold. So yeah, that's actually quite impressive for the sake of the forms of one of my favorite franchises of all time, next to the forms of Kirby and The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, and you name the rest, and Mario and Sonic as well. So, but even then, no, that's saying something, I suppose. So, anyway, in terms of another thing I should probably address something about this as well, is that, it seems to be more specifically, is that when it comes to the forms of Once Upon a Studio, as far as this is concerned, like, for instance, I believe it will actually able to contain 543 characters from more than 85 Disney feature-length films and short films during the forms of this particular feature. So, yeah, that does seem quite interesting to say the least, especially concerning about the fact that ultimately, though, it's more likely a celebration montage of the forms of the entire film company itself, so I can possibly understand about the fact that they did manage able to have some gem-packed full of characters during the films of the Walt Disney Studios as far as everything else as far as this is concerned. I mean, yeah, it is very, very, very impressive indeed, especially concerning about the fact they're trying to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney as the film company itself. So, yeah, that does seem very impressive, like I said before, so... Anywho though, in terms of another thing I should probably explain about this as well, is that, well, I'm also able to actually bring this up to the table, and that's what appears to be about the fact that it looks like that there's another film that has been celebrated the 10th anniversary throughout, and that's what appears to be Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs 2. So yeah, that film has been out for 10 years ago now, since in 2013, despite I still haven't get a chance to able to watch that film either, but that's just because it's not my cup of tea. So, but even then though, I'm biased I guess when it comes to preferring certain stuff alike, so yeah, you probably get the idea about that. So, anywho though, in terms of another thing I should probably explain about this as well, is that, speaking of the forms of some patch updates, I think I've already addressed that, during the course of the forms of the majority of the forms of Sonic Frontiers videos, as far as I'm concerned, that not only does, recently about the fact that both Pikmin 1 plus 2, has been able to actually receive themselves the actual, patch update, and also about the fact that it looks like that Pikmin 4 is also getting the actual patch update. So as a result, I believe Pikmin 4 is now onto version update patch 1.0.2, which actually addressed by the forms of some bug fixes and other bug fixes and regarding loading times. So as a result, let's get started with the forms at the top. For instance, they somehow managed to address fixed bugs applied after reloading a save data. So, for instance, if you ever experience any of the following issues, please download this update, then re-upload or reload your save data from the file selection. So these are the results they've got. They fixed an issue where some treasures would disappear when the player rewind time. So, yeah, that could be a problematic. And finally, they thankfully did manage to able to fix that, so I'm very appreciative about the fact that they finally managed to fix that issue. And they also fixed an issue where dialogue would fail to proceed when the player talked to castaways with side missions. So, yeah, I guess that's that. And also they fixed an issue where all characters would disappear from the rescue command posts. So, yeah, I guess that's that. And another patch update, they did somehow address something, and I think this is the last one for the first catalog. That's what it appears to be about the fact that they fixed an issue where the player would not have enough glow sap needed for treatment if the player doesn't have enough glow sap. As a result, of this bug. So this stock will be republished with that moment or with that amount at the end of the day. So yeah, I guess it's that. And also, in terms of other bug fixes they somehow addressed, that's what appears to be about the fact that they fixed an issue where the player could significantly increase the number of Pikmin. So yeah, I guess it's that. And they also fixed an issue where the player's screen would remain dark after they skip a cutscene. And they also fixed an issue where some treasures would stop being transportable if the treasures was already in a state where it couldn't be transported, and it will return to its original position after 3 in-game days. Then the player would be able to transport it. And as far as I'm aware, there's also a last issue with the forms of other bug fixes, like for instance, fix other issues to improve gameplay experience. And that's all there is to really think about it. And finally, in terms of the forms of the regarding loading times, as far as I'm concerned, there was this little annoying issue during the forms of this particular loading screens, which they did somehow suggest this. Regarding loading times, a progress bar has been added to loading screens so players can see the progress on loading times. So for players who have purchased the digital version, loading times can be shortened by moving the software data to internal storage. So yeah, that seems quite a lot of fixes during the forms of in Pikmin 4. That's a perfect example of why I decided to take a break on Pikmin 4 for a while, just because they need to address some bit of updates here and there concerning about the forms of certain progression as far as I'm concerned, and also with the ridiculous amount of loading screens you have to put up with, and in addition to that, though, a lot of issues lately. So oh yeah, speaking of something related to disappearance, as far as I'm concerned, that whenever I managed able to get to this point on the PS4 version of the Battle Rush mode on my own time, off screen by the way, because as a result I just don't feel like trying to show you guys the failed attempts, but one of those specific Guardians in particular did somehow throw me off during the forms of this particular process of All Islands mode, All Islands run, for the sake of the forms of this entire Battle Rush mode as far as this is concerned. That honor goes to the forms of the Ghost. And, well, suffice to say, during the forms of my first attempt of that particular Battle Rush for All Islands mode on off-screen, that as a result, I seriously got screwed over by that one particular Guardian alone. That's what appears to be, of course, Ghost. And because of that, though, what happens is that I've gone quite far into it though, but what happens though is that the Ghost did somehow no longer show up, and as a result it caused the actual thing to soft log. So as a result, I have to essentially gonna have to restart the entire process all over again, all filled to the brim with a lot of minutes to it. So because of that though, that's super duper annoying, especially concerning about the fact that if you think you're going to be doing pretty well when it comes to certain scenarios, for specifically if you're going into certain progression for all battles run through, and obviously at one point you will get screwed over by the forms of one of those annoying glitches they're able to actually encounter, like for instance the Ghost Guardian just somehow managed to disappear, and as a result it just feels a bit frustrating if you've gone so far, especially if you managed able to get your time wasted. Obviously you're probably not going to get the entire S rank run, so yeah, that's super duper annoying, especially concerning about the fact that I have managed able to come across into that issue as well during the course of the forms of the Switch version about this as well. And it's a good thing I've already did manage able to completely done everything, well almost everything, for the Xbox One version, but I still need to get back into that though. And in addition to that though, the Switch version that I somehow managed to caught up. So it seems to me more specifically though that I somehow managed able to caught up the PS4 version after all, because concerning about the fact that we were expecting to able to actually originally try to able to do Sonic Frontiers during the forms of the beginning portion of 2023, but because of the forms of Donkey Kong 64 that it needs to be done, so as a result that we very appreciate that we still managed able to get certain continuation portions for Sonic Frontiers. But still, about the fact that I believe that to me, that Sonic Frontiers is going to be the longest game in the series by far, mainly because of the forms of jam-packed full of content, and similar to the forms of how it does it on Super Mario Odyssey, it will be a very, very, very long Let's Play so far, especially concerning about the fact that there's a jam-packed full of content, as you probably expect at this point, so... But yeah, that's what I can really think about the forms of today's discussion at this point today. I mean, I would have liked to explain something else, but honestly, I think that's as far as I can usually just try to able to explain any of those specific solutions. Mainly because about the fact that at this point in time, I'm pretty much hyped about the forms of trying out the Final Horizons DLC update for Sonic Frontiers, but I really don't know if there are some new additional contents to be added, aside from new playable characters, new story, and new challenges. I would say when it comes to new challenges run, that it might actually give me some pretty interesting experience, all things considered, but still. I suppose we'll have to wait for that, and during at some point, once we get back into this game, at some point on next Monday, presumably speaking, because like I said before, we were expecting to originally try to able to do a marathon of Let's Plays during the forms of in October, but unfortunately though, it's not gonna happen this year, mainly because of this very, disorientated uploading schedules at this point in time. Although sure, the quality still looks pretty nice, all things considered, especially concerning about the fact that we still going pretty dang well, especially we've now on to 745 subscribers right now, so we're almost there to 750, which I can't believe by saying this is about the fact that I would like to able to say this yet again. Thank you guys so much for able to actually support our channel so far. I fully appreciate about that, especially concerning about the fact I hope you guys do able to be really enjoyed certain Let's Plays so far during the course of the majority of 2023 so far. I mean, sure, it does have some few bumps in the road at one form or another, specifically when it comes to a slow process of the forms of the uploading schedules alike. But regardless of everything else though, is about the fact that I would like to thank you all for able to actually give us any of those support. So, I really do appreciate about that. So I'm sure about the fact that I'm sure that some toys else will also appreciate about this specific stuff about this as well. And there's also another reason why, about the fact that no matter what though, that the reason why that the entire marathon of certain game series is not going to happen during the course of this year in particular, most notably because of two things. One, Sonic Superstars is getting closer to its release, and two, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So because of that though, yeah, that's the perfect example of why I don't feel like we can able to do an entire marathon of Castlevania, so I might as well do some games of Castlevanias during the forms of maybe at some point in the weekends, so that way it'll make the entire experience a lot more quicker and easy to manage. But as far as I'm aware, when it comes to Sonic Frontiers though, that will be an entirely different story, because I was expecting that originally I was going to go back onto Sonic Frontiers during at some point in November, but luckily for you guys, for those who really do enjoy Sonic Frontiers so far, obviously the continuation uploading schedules for Sonic Frontiers is still happening, but in forms of somewhat earlier than that in October, so meaning about the fact that there's going to be some more Sonic the Hedgehog action. So because of that though, yeah, I fully appreciate about that, especially concerning about the fact that at this point in time, we've only done 2 games so far during the course of Sonic the Hedgehog related during the forms of this year, which is of course Sonic Origins Plus and of course Sonic Frontiers for now. So but even then though, let me know in the comments down below for the question of the day. What was your exciting part, or what was your first impressions about the forms of the Final Horizons free DLC update for Sonic Frontiers? Because I'm sure you were able to actually enjoy this kind of stuff. And I'm sure enough though about the fact that for those of you who ever purchased the Nintendo Switch version, obviously they're able to enjoy the experience a lot more, because you can able to experience the actual DLC on the go. Oh, and finally, most notably, is that one of those episodes in particular for My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, called Sounds of Silence, that particular episode will eventually become 5 years old until tomorrow, so believe it or not, I'm sure that Silver the Hedgehog will able to explain more details about that once he's going on to the finale portion of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. Although the only thing is worth noting for, I don't think it's possible we can able to actually show off certain party games in Journey forms of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, just because there's annoying moments where I was expecting that we can able to share controllers again to able to experience multiplayer, but unfortunately though, it's been strict down. So because of that though, you have to get the separate individual controllers in order to able to actually play multiplayer for the likes of not only Monkey Target, but also Monkey Billiards, Monkey Bowling, Monkey Mini Golf, and even especially noticeable with the normal Monkey Golf mode, and on top of that with the forms of other like modes as well. So even then though, kind of unfortunate though, but regardless of everything else though, it's just a way of how the fact that sometimes certain stuff doesn't seem to work out that was originally attempted, but still, it can be felt a bit annoyingly restricted for the sake of the forms of certain aspects does need to come back or what have you. So, but either way though, that was it folks. That was pretty much the end of the forms of the Battle Rush mode. So, my god, my fingers and thumbs are a bit of a pain right now, but hopefully I'll try to recover my thumb and my fingers as well, so just in case I can able to prepare for the final Horizons. So, there we go folks, Battle Rush has been fully completed. And what's the reward you do get if you do manage to able to completely done everything for the Battle Rush mode? Well, you do able to have the ability to unlock the next difficulty setting, specifically if you want to replay the game again, and to be more specifically, it'll be a cool addition if you manage to able to select New Game Plus, which as a result, as you can see, we've now got extreme difficulty. You know, think of like a critical mode in Kingdom Hearts 2 and onwards. Basically, it's like an extremely hardest difficulty setting, which as a result, I think I should probably explain more details about that once we get into the forms of the Final Horizons playthrough, for the sake of the forms of Sonic Frontiers as a result. So yeah, that can wait though. So speaking of which though, I think suffice to say, I think we should probably end things off this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Sonic Frontiers. Is that we're about to get started with the forms of the final gem pack full of content for Sonic Frontiers. And that is of course the Final Horizons. So at least I need to get my thing updated first. So I'll see you guys until on Monday. Later fellas.